No running water from year to year. Hearts that no one desire. That if there is a Messiah, someday there will be prayer. Come on, always parents, can't see 10 people in a one-bedroom shanty. Boss to sell on the pavement, no vacancy, no employment. Get on fire back up from gunshot. Let us go and things get hot. Afraid to look out the window to hear voices from. I hear you. Sing the chorus. Yeah. Oh, oh. Crying. Crying. Yeah, crying. Yeah. Mothers does just hold the head on board, and them woman stronger than a wall.
Share the video, please.
A big pusher iron your daughter, son in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for you, you them rat boys so big. That's the black man's stripe. Like Shabba say, poverty is hell. Your little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Now will it all end lonely, time could tell. Outside the siren keep howling, inside your belly keep growling. Go this way very often, since you melted a coffee. One night, in bed you're sleeping, next night is a way that you're keeping. So you pray to win the lotto, not to hear their voice. What they doing? I hear you. Listen crying. Yeah. Crying. Yeah, crying. 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 Yeah. With tented pride they soldier on. Revolution made collections born.
Listen.
And often their tragic story with a journalist story. No wonder they feel the world with scorn. Since the day they born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws. But yet they christen the heroes. Renegades, desperados, forever knocking on heaven's door. Heaven, still on music, shut us the silence. I'm on it to conquer the violence. Big men run when cops approach, fighting for scraps with the cockroach. The young talks, they're tough protected. Almost every young girl expecting. So tomorrow, let's see tomorrow. Let me another child into crying. 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 Yeah, crying.
Monday night, wind it up. Spread the word. Sing it, Sandra.
Social amenities, Lord heaven knows. Opportunities, well, them always close. Can't get up once in white collar. If I can't stretch me dollar, Later from me crack or smoke me pipe. Sandra shot the dead from crime. Life just rape, dignity and pride. Till there's only bitterness left inside. And every day is a hustle. Arguments are settled with muscle. Till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Watch. Children, should life keep on drifting? Something they're smoking or sniffing. Or maybe they're trying to forget this life of misery and regret. No one to come to the rescue except Capleton and Bushu. So they boom boxes the Lego. The drum and voices in that's what they're crying. They're still crying. They're crying and they're crying. Crying and they're crying. Yeah, yeah.
What's this from the ghetto?
Crying.
Liars from all parts of the West Indies. Big shot liars from all them foreign countries. From a field about 1,000 or so entry. In 2 days, he boiled down and leave just 3. I had me eye on lion the lion. Because I know he does come with some good ones. But they had a young fella named Debo. Come from some village there in Tobago. He said his father is Tobago's best fisherman. Catch a fisherman wide 80 feet in span. He had to tie on the boat and swim back to land to get his brother Eric to give him a hand. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Why, sir? Check it out. Liar the lion, he laughed till he sweat. He said, Mr. Debo, ain't said nothing yet. If you really want to hear about fishing, let me blow your mind. Now listen to something. When you're talking about fish, you just hit the spot. I was hoping you did believe it or not. The fish your father caught, to you it was great. But it's them small fish my father does use to bait. Lion went ahead on once in the show. Completely eliminated Mr. Debo. The next man to beat was really outrageous. He asked the judges if he could lie first. The judges asked Lion. The lion agreed. Say any topic will pick is alright with me. He outrageous, I strong. Let we meet head on. And when we done, see who had fit to wear the crown. You hear lie? That is lie. Lie? You hear lie?
Teacher Pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Let it go. Let it go. Shook it up. Yeah. The outrageous say that he knew a tailor comes to make him sue. The man is the master. If you show him a man coming round a corner, he could make him a suit and don't even measure. I'm talking about suit, sitting down correct, expertly made and fitting perfect. He used to sew for Shakespeare, make suit for Hamlet, and up to this day yet make a mistake yet. You know the crowd went wild, they couldn't pull down. I said lion is lion losing the crown. The judges brought the crowd back to order and asked the lion to lie out a tailor. He said Yeah, my man is the best. Rolf is his name. Cutting cloth, making suit is his game. Don't show him the man, my tailor is class. Just show him the corner where the fella pass, and he gon' make a suit. That is tailor. Your hair like King Liar.
Teach your pussy say if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
Lift it up. Take it up. Let it go. Move it up. Let it go.
Teach your pussy if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die. Teach your pussy if you tell a lie, you're going to hell as soon as you die.
A pack of PNM lies. But that is the name of tonight's show. A pack of PNM lies. I just got an article from a fellow named Noble Philip. Emerging from the cocoon of self-isolation into the streets of West Trinidad has been a thing of wonder. Last week, a Lamborghini, $1 million vehicle, was sighted in the West Mall car park. Luxury vehicles of every brand, all less than 2 years old and costing more than $750,000, have mushroomed across the nation. Were the reports of COVID-induced hardship in our country genuine? Where's the foreign exchange for these vehicles coming from? How is this use of scarce resources justified? Are these vehicle owners the same ones who call upon the government to help their struggling businesses and staff? Why did they not use this capital to support the businesses? Adam Smith, the Scottish economist, well beloved by business people, reminds us that rich people do not have to behave morally to earn the esteem of others, most of whom are dazzled and enchanted by their riches. These vehicles show moral carelessness in a COVID period and emphasize a proud ambition and ostentatious greed that Smith described as character traits of the rich. Smith added, the rich man glories in his riches because they naturally draw upon him the attention of the world. The social contract that Hobbes envisaged would hold our society together lies in tatters. Our aloof elites parade in their chariots, while the essential workers wait for uncertain public transport. Mr. Richie Suklal, president of the Chaguanas Chamber of Industry and Commerce, acknowledged the hard times citizens have undergone. Yet his take was ominous. He opined, given that now a lot of people have been without jobs for the longest while, we know that we will expect a spike in crime. He then pivoted. The criminal elements are accessing firearms easily because Trinidad and Tobago is a huge transshipment point, and it seems that we are not able to curb the importation of illegal firearms as we would like to. However, the citizens need to protect themselves. Who is the danger? Poor people or criminals? Or are poor people criminals? According to one newspaper, having dispensed this woolly analysis, he advocated keep the guns coming. For his peers, Mr. Sukai did not elaborate on the fate of the rest of us non-citizens who do not qualify for either set of guns. A gun and a chariot work well for some, not all. Meanwhile, more pressures ahead for the lot of people without jobs. The food stalwart Baliram Maraj pointed out in August that the price of pigtails skyrocketed by 74%. Canned corned beef went up by 36%. Yellow split peas and lentils rose by 34%. Brown sugar climbed by 25%. And canned tuna increased by 15%. In October, Mr. Dipti, the Supermarket Association head, admitted it's a situation whereby you feel for the consumers. Those who are now emerging from COVID-19, we are very cognizant of the fact that savings have been depleted and that the average consumer is poorer coming out of the lockdown and that they need time to catch themselves or recover from this tumultuous period. Poverty is hell. When is that time out? These price increases are coming at the worst possible time. Christmas beckons. Will the traditional joy be present? With a 30-year record inflation, 6.2% for October in the US, what can we expect when ours hit 4.9% in July? Are our merchants fearmongering? Are they milking the market because they could? Given the high degree of concentration in the food business, We should be mindful that such power can lead inexcusably higher prices. If markets are competitive, companies will keep their charges down to prevent competitors from grabbing away customers. Furthermore, we need to consider the temptation to mask capital flight by increased input costs quoted in US dollars. Are our elites using the inflationary pressure to hide their grab for larger profits in US dollars? What are we witnessing? What we are witnessing is the entrenching of social and economic inequality. The elites will get richer faster than ever, while the poor will not make ends meet. Social mobility has stalled. In 2017, only 20% of the population believed they would be better off than their parents. Stagnant wages, job insecurity, and a slowing down of GDP growth will handicap the social and economic mobility of the young. Access to private and prestige schools gives no incentive to wealthy parents to push for better public education. This neglect closes the loop on our poorer neighborhoods, which will have worse educational outcomes and more brutal policing. Is our business community proud of its efforts to help the vaccination drive? Did they put out their best in the advertising campaign? How much did these efforts move the needle of acceptance? In this context, it is laughable yet sad to see the concern about possible future lockdowns. These are all fundamental business issues. Would there be any business if our society disintegrates? Our business elites must influence better public policy on education and health, and agitate for enhanced safety net programs to give our children a better chance of success. The need to resolve the structural cause of poverty cannot be postponed. Giving out hampers meets an urgent need, but is a short-term response. Our business elites should do their civic duty. Our nurses and doctors show them how to do it. This is the second. Third, Clive Phelps, this fellow Scott, the contractor, and now Noble Phillips, are all finally finding themselves to what I have been saying. Somebody pointed out to me that the Prime Minister on Saturday, what he did was answer me. He was speaking directly to me, especially when not only did he respond and cancel the state of emergency, but by using my trademark, stay safe, to end his contribution. I ask again, because this is now going to become the subject of legal action. There are a couple questions going to be added to this. I am putting the Ministry of Health and the government of Trinidad and Tobago on notice. Marcia, brave boy, pull up your big girl panties and pretend that what I'm going to read here is me in bed at the PNM. How many ICU trained nurses do we have? How long does it take to train a regular nurse to operate ICU equipment? The additional 52 ICU beds we suddenly got, where did they come from? I want to ask Trinidad and Tobago a question. If I did not go and do that video outside Gene Pear Complex and expose the fact that we only had 51 functional ICU beds in the entire country, would they have brought out the 52 that they were hiding for Tiffin? Hear me again. He suddenly found 52 ICU beds. They didn't come by Amazon. They didn't come by FedEx. They didn't come on a plane or a boat. They weren't in train. Mascara Girl, I understand Fuad Khan refers to her as Mascara Girl as well. She must be so proud. Mascara Girl, who made an ass of herself for the entirety of the COVID, decided to double down. Somebody from the States is telling me, Phil, she's only acting on her boss's dictates. I say, brother, that's the worst thing to tell me. Because if I was in the Nuremberg courts, all of these soldiers that said they were only following orders, I'd have hanged them first. They'd be the first one hanging, twitching, and dying from the end of a rope. There is no order you could take to cause distress and misery for others. Mascara Girl is fully complicit and part of the gang. So, when she was beaten out, that Trinidad and Tobago was at 70%, 80%, 82%, 84%. Every day the media beating it, headlines, front page. 96% of the ICU beds full. The country was supposed to go in an uproar and run, midnight, break the curfew, climb over the fence, inject me! But we didn't. You know why we didn't? Because Philip Edward Alexander always responds to the jackassery of PNM lies and exposes the bullshit for what it is. Now, the PNM is not very good. Keith Rowley and Harry Back are useless jokers, awash in funny money, and kept in office by a failed and collapsed UNC. And if we did not have racial voting, if the 510,000 Indian who still have UNC standing pick up their vote and move one step over and say we're going to put Pep in office, Rowley will piss and shit his pants tonight. But as long as he could hold and they could hold that 510,000 vote hostage and captive behind a failed and corrupt UNC, then that game will continue to sink each version of our Titanic as soon as it is launched to sea. When I went to the stadium, it was akin and similar to when I did the video when Terence Dialsing was trying to terrorize the nation in 2020, and he said, 2020, when he said, a second wave is coming, it's going to kill us. And I asked him, where the second wave supposed to come from, Terence, if we lock down 3 months now and the airport's closed? Where? Your mammy? And the reason for saying it so is so that it could reach the ground. And I wanted it to reach the ground. I wanted it to reach Rapai village and beat him and then back there. I wanted it in Tobago. I wanted everybody to say, oh God, he hit him hard, boy. Where it coming from, Terence? Now anything you ask Terence, people has answer, yeah, mommy. Because Terence is a ridiculous buffoon. And Terence Dialsing is talking about stopping doctors from doing their duty as doctors, to which all doctors have said collectively to Terence Dialsing, you could kiss their ass. Because if doctors down tools, partner, all the pharmacists here is pharmacists, or pharmacist landlord here is pharmacist landlord, you will cause a massive problems in this country. So slow your roll, partner. You hear? This is not time for you and your crying. This is not the crying game. This is time for real governance and real leadership, and you ain't it. You, Keith Rowley, Harry Back, the rest of you, you're not it. You've had your chance, you'll have teeth out all the money, and we'll come to that. We will come to that and address that. But right now, what we need is leadership. When Keith Rowley said that we have 104 beds, he was trying to cover Mascara Girl's ass. Because the country did the arithmetic. Is 1.4 million Trini. We only ever had 51 ICU beds filled. So I mean all the time my family was lying down on the ground in the hospital. I ain't talking COVID. I'm talking about 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, when your family was dead and begging, when you had to put them to lie down on foam, when they said the stretchers, they had them on the stretchers because they had no bed. And why they had no bed? Because the hospital, even though we're spending in excess of $5,000 million every year, somebody was thieving that. And a commission of inquiry would quickly tell us where that money went. Because we wasn't buying beds. We wasn't buying beds. Keith Rowley said we could not open the Cuba hospital because we don't have staff for that. We can't move staff, we can't make staff out of Manchester. Keith Rowley said that shit. And then, at the height of the COVID pandemic, opened the Cuba hospital. And told the nation, we now magically have a parallel healthcare system. Now, a healthcare system, it's not just wards, it's not just beds. You could put people to lie down on foam under a bridge in the highway if what you have is a doctor or a nurse or a medical professional. If you could control real professional medical, you could call it a healthcare system. If you said, Keith Rowley, that we do not have more medical professionals, so we couldn't open Cuba Hospital when you opened it in 2020, where you get them from? Where? And I want Trinidad to see the level of deceit this son of a bitch is capable of. So he's telling you, go and tell the world, we are the only nation in the world that's capable of saying we have a parallel healthcare sector. You ever hear the joke? A man went to Mario's for a pizza. And they asked him, you want it cut in 6 slices or 8 slices? He said, you better cut it in 6. Yes, I ain't so hungry. That's Keith Rowley. Keith Rowley draw a line down the public health workers that we had and say half all you go so, and half all you go so. Now the full combined, all of them before, wasn't enough for the shithole that was our public health. And I know some of you just got your boxers in a twist because the word shithole twinged you. Because it's twinging you because when your children get sick, you go in West Shore or you go in St. Clair. The people who didn't get twinge, the people who get vexed when I said it was a shithole, they say, yeah, boy, Philip, I feel that one. It's the people who sit on hard concrete or that old wood pew they make for bench in them hospital with a children. Like Lima McLeod Wilkinson, a proud public servant with her young daughter, sit down for 10 hours in Mount Hope because the child had a broken wrist and not one person to attend to them, even though we spent $5 billion on public health that year. That year. So when Keith Rowley told the nation that we have a parallel healthcare system, what he was doing is lying. When Terence Dialsing did it, that son of a bitch was lying. When Mascara Girl did it, she was lying. When Parashram did it, he was lying. When Steffi Graf, Avery Hines did it, he was lying. When Trotman did it, she was lying. And every talking head in the media that parroted it were lying. And I want all of them, because I call them liars, to take me to court for defamation, because an absolute defense for defamation is the truth. And if it is the truth that they are lying, then I want to see them say, I am wrong. If you did not partition the existing public health system and separate 100 people into 2 gangs of 50 and say we have 2 systems now, same amount of people, but it's 2 systems now. If you didn't do that, tell me, Keith Rowley, asking you, not your jackasses and jokers, I'm asking you, where did the new workers come from for the new parallel public health system? Where did the new wards come from? Where did the new beds come from? Where? Where? If we have a parallel healthcare system, where did the resources come from? And if we had 150 beds before, and now 75 is what we have, and 75 in the parallel health system, we do not have a parallel healthcare system. You've divided public health into 2 to bullshit, con, and deceive poor people. And that happening on my watch. And if you wasn't lying and thieving, if you wasn't conning and deceiving, when I went outside Jimpia Complex and filmed that, all you wouldn't have run quick and rent tent and rent generator and rent toilet and come and activate it and went by a boutique and get some black cloth and come and wrap it around the fence. Like we can't get a drone and shoot it from the top. You would not go and try to pretend that it activated and open. But you're liars and deceivers. A pack of PNM lies. That's what is going on in the country. To make a bad matter worse, Avery Hines, who should turn in his medical license and go and become, I don't know what else to tell him to go and become. Do something that involves lying for a living, Avery Hines. Because there is a step between the 56 people that were double jabbed and the people that were not jabbed at all. That made up the difference. When you said, Avery Hines, 3.8% of the people who died were double vaccinated and the rest were unvaccinated. Avery Hines, I put to you, sir, that you are playing with the truth. And I want to ask you, Avery Hines, you, how many of the people in the public health hospitals tonight have already received 1 vaccination jab? Because I'll tell Trinidad and Tobago this. I am in touch with people throughout our public health systems, nurses, doctors, administrators, you name it. And they're telling me these sons of bitches lying, and their lies and their deceit leading to people dying. Because we don't have enough facilities to treat with the people who are sick in this country. And the reason the people sick is that they jabbed them and they didn't tell them that when you get the first jab, it is going to decimate your immune system for over 2 weeks. So that for over 2 weeks, you are the most at risk for COVID you will ever be after that first jab. And you should hide. Run home and hide. Don't go in the grocery, don't go in the bank, don't go in the market, don't go in the road. Stay under your bed and hide. COVID will infect you. you now have a comorbidity called vaccine-suppressed immunity. And that is where the spike is coming from. Because to the Trinidadians, Jab and Stephen Valdez and Stephen Cadiz and the rest of the non-thinking, lumbering fools that pass as public commentators in this country, if we lock down 6 months now, we lock down with a state of emergency and a curfew, where all this virus come from, if not through the tip of a needle. I am tired of reading jackasses talk shit about, and let's not talk about the mutations that happen if you don't get vaccinated. I want to explain it again. If you're tracking girls in a bar and they're not on you, you will leave and go to the next bar. Or you'll go home and change your clothes and change your perfume and comb your hair different and come back and try a different tack. That's what mutation is to COVID-19. If you're getting through and everybody loving you, you're wearing that same outfit and that same perfume forever. And understand this, things only mutate to get around obstacles. If you read Darwin's theory of evolution, survival of the species, you will understand that to mate and to eat determines what all living beings, what drives evolution. The drive to eat and to mate or to reproduce. So to those who think that COVID will just be liming on the corner by a lamppost, smoking on Broadway and saying, you know what? Nobody ain't taking me on. I feel like I just mutate, random, because I have nothing else to do. That code does not exist in nature. And the day you hear that there is a virus that randomly mutating in the air, dig a hole and bury yourself, because we will never be able to vaccinate or otherwise stop it. The mutations like Delta is coming out of the vaccinated. It is in them that COVID, when it bounces up obstacles, needs to change its clothes and put on a different perfume to jump out itself and infect somebody else. And if you can't get that through your head, then at least, if you can't be intelligent, at least have the decency to be silent so you don't lead anybody else astray. Stupidity is not one of those things that you should share liberally. Stephen Cadiz, Tony Chowlinon, Stephen Valdez, shut up. You are helping nobody. The government is vaccinating people, causing spikes, and then using the spikes as a rationale to tell you, go and get vaccinated. I want to tell you something. Your entire government are bullshit artists, and you see Keith Rowley is the king of lies. You see that jackass farm that's talked to you on a Saturday. You see the picture they put of Mascara Girl on the front page of that Express. That is when lies leaking out your pores. She can't hide the ugliness in her heart and her soul, and it come out on the front page of that papers. Babe, put back on that mask. Where to? Put one on your forehead. Give you a break. Because I want to tell you something. You had a responsibility when you became a doctor to save lives. To save lives. Not to lie. To advance your own self-interest. And all that you are peddling is PNM bullshit lies. Mariam Richards Abdul, or Abdul Richards, whoever. Could you explain to a nation of 1.6 million, because it's 1.4 million citizens and 250,000 guests that Stuart Young bring so that he could organize a different voter padding? Let me bring in some Venezuelans to try and see if we could pad the votes. You see that? That is guests in your house now. We're responsible for them. Our public health is responsible for them. Our water system, our garbage system responsible for that. There is a spike in our citizenry. There is now 1.650 people, 1,650,000 people living in Trinidad and Tobago. And we only had 51 ICU beds. When Paul Anderson of Global Medical Response tried to respond to the fact that a Japanese citizen almost died in this country waiting on an ambulance, Paul said the 48 ambulances we have are suffering because of the COVID spike. No, Paul. That's not why your ambulances are suffering. We cannot have 48 ambulances for 1,650,000 people. It was inadequate for 1,400,000 people. And it's certainly going to be inadequate during a pandemic and or a spike. Now, as your ambulances are mostly transport only, no paramedics, that means it's a stretcher in the back of a massive van. You could air freight in some stretchers. You gotta tell Terrence, give me a piece of that bill now. Let me bring in some stretchers. So when we're talking, let me at least have 120 ambulances on the road now. And again, Paul, why don't you make the roster sheets available to the public so we will see if there is in fact 48 ambulances on the road at any one time. For Keith Rowley to go and buy 52 ICU beds because I tell you 51 beds is not enough for the country means Keith Rowley has failed as Prime Minister and he should fire himself. And in a real country, he would have stepped down already. For him to end the state of emergency, because I told the nation, if you say this state of emergency is useless, it's serving no purpose, it's such bullshit that at the end of the month I will let it expire. That means for the next 3 weeks that you leave it run, you are usurping the authority of the office to suppress and circumvent human rights and civil liberties for no reason at all. That you can't go and stand up in front of a judge anywhere and say that the reason and the purpose is because of the spike in the COVID and the pandemic. And if you can't, and to let it continue, it's a criminal act. So you run quick Saturday and cancel it. Brother, again, I run in the country or you? We're here, Rebecca and your advisors. They can't tell you these things. How could we continue to function in a government legislating on the hoof, governing by VAPs? How long can we continue to allow a public health system guided by a panel of liars? Terrence Dialsing told the nation that people are being treated by doctors with ivermectin and antibiotics. He's a liar. He is a liar. He is a liar. But ivermectin is the wonder drug that saved this world from COVID-19, not these vaccinations. And ivermectin should get the Nobel Peace Prize for what it did in the last 22 months and continuing. It is ivermectin that ended it in India. It is ivermectin that ended it in Brazil. It is ivermectin that is keeping many Trinidadians alive and away from the madness that is our public health system where they intubate you to die. We do not have a realistic, well-run public health system in Trinidad and Tobago. And we are filing a Freedom of Information request with the Ministry of Health through the courts. And we're going to ask the courts to force the government to tell us of all 1,436 people who have died to date, without disclosing their name, without disclosing their address. So you are no way exposing their identity. Just tell us their age, their weight, BMI and body mass index, and any underlying conditions or comorbidities. Because if 97% of those people who have died have been people who were very elderly, who had underlying conditions. 1 in 3 kidney patients die. We in my family believe my sister Fayan was one of the first COVID deaths in Trinidad and Tobago because she just dropped dead like that. She had had dialysis that day in West Shore when we weren't sure what was going on. Her doctor died 2 weeks later, dropped down with a heart attack and dead. And they didn't understand that either. Her emergency room doctor. And that could very well have been COVID. But if 1 in 3, if they know 1 in 3 dialysis patients who get COVID will die, then that is a group of people to partition from society. If you're a dialysis patient, get a hammer and some nails and nail your door shut from the inside. Let people deliver your food through a window and spray it with sanitizer before you touch it. Use once and done gloves and throw them away after. Because those are the steps that you have to take to prevent it getting on you in any way. Because you're compromised. You're not a normal person. COVID is going to ravage you. The average person won't. But the bullshitologists in the PNM, those peddling lies, Mascara Girl, Avery Hines, Trotman, Parasram, and the Liar Singh, what they're trying to do is use your comorbidity to buy high-priced Chinese donkey piss and push it in people's arms to lie to them. And I'm telling Trinidad and Tobago this, Wednesday night, we're lighting candles for that. You could light candles anywhere you want. Wednesday night is state of emergency over, and your human rights and civil liberties are yours again. Once you don't plan it with nobody else, once you're 6 feet away from everybody else, once you have on your mask when you're in public, you're breaking no law, walk with your candle, light it, because we're lighting it for truth, decency, accountability. We want democracy and a rule of proper law. We want accountability from this government. And we're going to the courts. We are going to the local courts. And if we don't get redress in the local courts, we're going to the international courts. And you're not getting no delays, Terrence. Freedom of information, you have to give us the information in a certain time frame, and that's the time frame you're getting. So I'm giving you a heads up now. Start to compile this information of the 1,436 people who died from COVID in this country. How many of them received at least one vaccination? How many had comorbidities? How many were elderly? How many were obese? Acutely obese. That's the information that we want. We want to know, Keith Rowley, the new 52 beds that you bought to make us 104 ICU beds. Mascara girl say, an ICU bed is not just a bed. I can't go in Fens and pick it up. I can't go in Standards. I can't go in American stores. An ICU bed comes with a registered ICU nurse. I try to know what she doing. Keith Rowley, in 2 weeks, you double read from 52 to 104. Kitos, if you can't get ICU nurses in PriceMart, where buy these? In Massey? If you doubled the ICU beds in the country, keep Christopher Mugabe Sabga Rowley, king of lies, father of deceit, the original Decepticon. If you brought 52 more beds into the country, ICU beds, and according to Mascara Girl, requires people trained in the operation of ICU beds. If in 2 weeks you went from 52 to 104, Keith Rowley, where did the staff come from to operate those beds? Tell the nation, because if you can't, then that means you bought 52 beds for shit, and they're going to lie down there for nothing, because if they need people to operate it, it's like a plane without a pilot. So tell us, Kitos, don't keep we waiting. Tell we, brother, the extra 52 beds, and we want to know this, the extra 52 beds that you get, where they come from magically, and who is operating them. If you can't get nurse and doctor in PriceMart, they don't sell them in PriceMart. Where you get them from, partner? Tell the nation, you abject failure, you complete liar, you dishonest deceiver. You, Keith Rowley, it is the decisions that you and your government has made to leave the borders open so your friends in the 1% and the contract mafia could continue to bring wherever they want through the country. Like Mr. Noble Phillips said when he was quoting Mr. Kanai or Senai or wherever. He said, we can't seem to stop the flow of guns as much as we would like to. Do we really want to? Have we ever tried? When you put a jackass in breaks like Fitzgerald Hines as Minister of National Security, who admits that there's nothing we can do, are we really trying? Are we trying to stop the flow of guns and drugs and dirty money? Are we really? They have Air Force bases in America bigger than Trinidad where one man have the contract to mow the whole lawn and maintain the grass. Tell me, why can't we secure Trinidad that don't qualify as a county in America, but you let that little jackass Stuart Young come and tell the nation, America can't secure its border with Mexico. That is why we can't secure. Jackass! Keith Rowley say, look at Brazil, people walking across the border. We in the sea, jackass. Who is our people who invading this country? All of them Christ 5,000 times walking on water? We're telling the people. We're telling the people, and there are people in the New York Coast Guard who laugh at them, who would voluntarily come and do it here for free because they tell me, they show me, they say, Phil, tell Stuart Young and Keith Rowley, jump in a boat and drive it up into any harbor in New York without stopping and accounting for who they are and where they're going and see what pepper tastes like. And they showed me a boat that was coming into the harbor that was not responding. They sent immediately a fast attack boat that rammed that boat and stopped it while a helicopter was overhead dropping men onto that deck. Fully armed. Respond to that now. They rammed the boat and stopped it. You have one chance. And that is the kind of money that we spend on our Coast Guard now. But we spend that to thief it. They have 3 and 4 companies that Harry Back and his friends and family involved in that pass. They have a man who living on the top of Goodwood Park Hill. They say he's a purveyor of boats. He should know. Ask him. if they have companies all through this world that our money have to pass through before it reach or stall in Australia and China to get to the boats that we buy. Tell me now. Because all the Coast Guard boats that we buy, the reason you can't go down into the base in Chagaramas is not for national security purposes. It's Manico and Lap the Garden. We have nothing that is privilege or national security down there. The only reason you can't go down there is because everything beyond Chakakabana, everything beyond the cove is where we send the bullshit to hide. Ask Colm if he know the name of the man where we rent to put and park up all them water taxi. That man buy a water taxi, a boat named Sue. It get to Trinidad and park up since. We spend 3 times the value on it, trying to keep it afloat. Do an audit on the Coast Guard, and they have Coast Guard men begging, please, because our salary increases. Tie up in that. Our shower, there are people bathing in the Coast Guard, stand up on a piece of plywood out in the open with a pipe over their head. And that's how we're treating our people, while government ministers and their friends and financiers thieving money and calling it purchasing gun and purchasing boat. You stand up in the same press conference, Keith Rowley, and you lamented how tired the doctors are and how tired the nurses are. If you really gave a shit, Keith Rowley, your government would account for the $10 billion besides Manning and Imbert's $5 billion they talk about, which we want publicly audited. But you would explain where the $10 billion that we spent in the 2 years went on public health, because it's not reaching the nurses and it's not reaching the doctors. So who is getting that money, Keith Rowley? You care about the police? In the average police station, unless we thieving money to build a new police station for $50 million in Carnage and Sinclair, the average police station is a shit show, and our police officers live in filth and crap. You do nothing to update, to manage and maintain, nothing. There is no organization of state that goes to the police service and change the doors and locks on doors and make sure that they're not sitting on bus-up chair with foam and that they're not operating on 2013 and 2014 salary. Catching the ass. You want to play at talking, but these are essential workers, and the only reason they're not striking on your ass is because it's against the law for them to strike. It is like the workers in the beat-em dump. All you're killing them with toxic bullshit and fumes, and they can't strike. You send Milford and them down there to make sure the bullshit continues, while you're killing them poor people living across the road in Beetham from heavy metals toxicity. If we did an air, soil, and water quality test across the road from the Beetham, you, Keith Rowley, they'd throw you out of Scotland. You're going to talk about the environment. You give a shit about the environment. Leachate killing people. We dumping raw sewage and battery acid in one pond inside a day. But you hire amalgamated security to guard garbage and keep Philip from coming to film the shit all you're doing. Imagine amalgamated security guarding the garbage. Not from the hustlers. The hustlers can jump on a truck. As the truck coming in, they jump on it like ants. But Philip Edward Alexander, look out for he, because he's showing the nation the bullshit the government doing. Explain to them why those tractors that crushing the garbage, explain to them why we renting those and that we don't own them. Explain to the nation why the money we pay to Faris in-laws, Nahu's family, to rent them buildings, we could build them buildings every year for the rental money. Explain that to the nation, Akitos, with your I care about you voice. Explain that to them. Explain that to the mothers who living in the ghetto tonight, who children belly growling, why they have people on top of hills in this country living life so nice they farting through silk and wiping their ass with 100 US. Explain that to the mothers whose husbands in jail, whose sons dead, whose daughters prostituting themselves just to find a man to mind them. Explain that to the black people of Trinidad and Tobago who keep voting for that Balize cult as if somehow, at some point, or they will find God and find some reason to want to do good and right by the people. Explain that to them now, partner. Explain it. Trinidad want to know. No new ICU beds, hired no new nurses and doctors, built no new wards, bought no new ambulances. You spent $5 billion. You, Manning and Colm Imbert say we do that to fight COVID. How? How is thieving money fighting COVID? How is fattening friends, family, and financiers' pockets fighting COVID? Give the country an accounting for that third $5 billion, because you spent $5 billion in 2020, and $5 billion in 2020. If it was to fight COVID, what that money was spent on? Ketos.
From the Trinidad, location 7 miles off the coast of Venezuela. SOS, mayday, mayday, mayday.
Sing the chorus, Trinidad. Captain, the ship is sinking.
The Trinidad, a luxury liner, sailing the Caribbean seas. With an old captain named Eric Williams. But yes, it's smooth and free. But sadly, Eric Williams passed away. The ship hit the port at a day. Someone turned the bridge over to a captain named Chambers. Me blood crawl, things start to fall. Hold me head when I say that word. Captain, this ship is sinking. Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty. No electricity, we oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa, whoa. In Trinidad, oh, she was a beauty, with wealth that few surpassed. And in her day, she sailed majestically. There were few in her class. Faithfully, she fulfilled her sailor's need. Some were overpowered by greed, and so they pilfered slow. Some took by bulk and go. Now she looked dull, she's at a lull. She could be
PDP beating PNM interview.
Captain, the seas are rough. Oh yes, we gas tank almost empty. No electricity, we oil pressure reading low. Shall we abandon ship, or shall we stay on it and perish slow? We don't know, we don't know. Captain, you tell me what to do. Whoa.
Right now, there are 3 political live videos going on. Kendall Baggy took screenshots. 641 in the PDP, 165 viewers in the PNM, and 1,300 on this page. And our page restricted and blocked. That means we would have 5,000 viewers by now if that wasn't happening. Time to get serious. And tonight, the same jackass who sang this song talking about Carnival 2022 for vaccinated people. Watch me now. You can't cure stupid, but you can vote it out. You could vote it out. Satish Ramsaran is working on, with his legal team and Ian Griffith, is working on getting that Freedom of Information request out. I have some more information to give you now. I just want to take a break and do some housekeeping. On your show, please advise all business affiliates that are in the catalog and know that their subscription are due. We encourage them to renew their subscription because Janice Lemon Creaky will be calling and having a chat. So that is to all the business affiliates who are in the catalog, who have signed up, who have outstanding renewals. Please contact Ms. Creaky. But yes, right now the business affiliates bubbling, and we have agreed that we will hold the business affiliates price as it is until December 31st, 2021. Please Rush and do it. Don't wait for the last minute. Sort out yourself because Christmas coming. I get a request from Wayne Ram of Trissa Hydrofarm, and very rarely he will ask for a song. So I'm going to play it for him. This is Trissa Hydrofarm. This is the people who supply those wonderful large salad bags for $100. He's asked me to play this song. Don't go nowhere.
It's fine, do a bed in the hospital. Yeah,
This song was written in the 70s.
and we can't hear a word from Health Minister Kamal. Whoa.
Just now, I need to make a call, and I am apologizing right now because I was supposed to call this young lady. She's having a funeral tomorrow. Let me just...
Hello?
Hi, Andrea.
Yes?
Sorry for calling so late. There was a lot to be discussed at the start of this video tonight. You're still available to add your information in the public space?
Yes?
Give me 2 minutes to get it set up. Say testing 1, 2, 3 for me.
Can you repeat that?
Just say testing 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, good evening, Andrea. You are live now with our viewers. Trinidad and Tobago, some of you may have seen the heartbreaking post that Andrea had to put out on Facebook. And I'm not going to add any information to it, but I wanted her to be able to speak because she has some information to share. Andrea, first of all, please accept my condolences again.
Thank you.
Could you explain to Trinidad and Tobago exactly what it is went on with your dad?
What happened with my father? He tested positive for COVID-19 on the 1st of November. By the time he got the results of that test on Monday evening, Tuesday his symptoms worsened within hours. By Wednesday morning, we had to call the ambulance. That ambulance took 2 hours before it got here to assess my father and take him to Mount Hope. That was the Wednesday, the 2nd. On Tuesday morning, which was the 4th, I got a phone call that he was transferred to the Cuba hospital. A doctor there called me and she told me that they had to place my father on a ventilator, sedate him, and intubate him. He stayed on that ventilator for 9 days before he passed away on the Friday morning, the 12th of November. However, my father, what was strange is that my father was fully vaccinated. He got his last shot of the Sinopharm vaccine on the 16th of July of this year. So therefore, he would have been considered fully vaccinated as the 2-week period would have passed.
Andrea,
Yes?
you're very brave, you're very courageous, and I want to thank you on behalf of Trinidad and Tobago for having this much courage. When is his funeral?
His funeral is tomorrow morning.
Andrea, I want to ask you a couple of questions if you would allow me.
Sure.
How old was your dad?
He was 59.
Did he have any underlying conditions or comorbidities?
Not that we knew of. He always ate healthy. He was always active.
A
He
co-
never smoked, and he would only drink alcohol occasionally.
Andrea, a comorbidity is not something you could have and not know. So when you say not that you knew of, and I know that is because of the nonsense that they peddle in this country, a comorbidity is something that is debilitating, that is affecting your quality of life on a daily basis, that you are struggling to manage. It is called a comorbidity. It means something that is threatening your life. You understand what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
so for you to say not that you know of, then that means no. He had no comorbidities.
Yes.
He
No
was
comorbidities.
59, a relatively young, healthy man, and he got his 2 Sinopharm vaccines when?
Yes. His last shot was in July, 16th of July.
July. So, okay, I'm not going to use your case in any way to make a point. I think you've made every point that I needed made, Andrea, and I want to assist you in any way that I could. You've asked for nothing. Is there anything that I could do to help you and your family right now through this? And you don't have to answer me here. You could, you have my number, and you could call me at any time.
Okay, I will let you know.
Please, on behalf of everybody watching this and everybody who's going to hear it and be mortified at what happened to your family, please accept our condolences. How many kids he had?
I'm the only child.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
No, that is all. Thank you so much for talking to me
If you,
and letting people know that these vaccines, there's a possibility or there's evidence that it isn't as effective as the ministry officials claim it is. Because after 3 months, the virus took over my dad's life, even though they say it's supposed to prevent hospitalization or death.
is there any way for you to ask for an autopsy, or is it too late for that?
No. No, we are doing a cremation tomorrow.
What happened to your family was unfair. I am working so hard to protect people like you from this, Andrea, and I am fighting hard to wake people up to the reality that these people are lying to you, that they lied to your father, and that I know he went and took that vaccine to protect you and your mom, and he did that.
Yes.
They're lying to you, and now because of those lies, because of Keith Rowley and his government, because of the madness of our public health system, you now have to go and bury your dad. I am so sorry. And Andrea, I want to thank you on behalf of all the people who hear your story and now going to wake up and not put their families at risk. I want to thank you for having that courage and that selflessness.
Okay, thank you.
Keep in touch, okay? Anything you need, anything that you need, anything that I could help with, call me, okay?
I will do that. Thank you.
Good night. A pack of PNM lies. A pack of PNM lies. All of it. Terrence D'Alce, Mascara Gill, Steffi Graf, Parashram, Trotman, Rowley, a pack of PNM liars, deceivers. That family is without its chief breadwinner. That young lady is without her daddy because he went to do the right thing according to what the government told him and led him astray. So when they say that the vaccines have stalled, I want to applaud Trinidad and Tobago. Stand firm. Stand strong. Don't buy their bullshit. For every one miss tear that the liar sing and Mascara Gill want to come and break down for you. But your doctor breaking down. That child is a politician. Mascara girl is a politician, as Jacques-Claude Escalante say. Doctor don't come and break down on TV. That's bullshit. They are bullshit artists. The head of the Northeast Regional Health Authority is a theater man. All that is theater. Before you go on, pinch your balls, pull a hair out your nose so your eyes go full up with water. Teach them that bullshit. This is a stink and dirty place. Of course, you could hear the pain within her voice. She lost her daddy. And she didn't want to come on this show. She came on this show just to help other daughters like her not have to go through this. That girl is a national hero. Because she came to tell Trinidad and Tobago, do not believe them. They're talking shit. They're lying to you. This is not working. This is not doing what they tell you it's doing. They're lying to you. And download this video and keep it. Trust me on that. Download this video and keep it. So that you know. And we have to stand together in Trinidad and Tobago. It has to done now. The PNM lies have to done now. And the only way it's going to done is if a strong government stands up against the insanity, as Ian Griffith calls the unconscionable acts of the Gang of Five. We have to stand together. Right now there's an organization that you could join. If you don't think that your vote is a racist vote, or you're not voting for corruption and kickback, go to peptt.com/join right now and fill out that form. 4 things. Name, address, phone number, email address. So we could contact you and let you know what's going on. I'm telling Trinidad and Tobago, Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, I am lighting a candle for another Andrea. Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, I am lighting a candle for another Andrea. Ms. Rampasad, if you're still listening, this is for you and your family.
Didn't know today would be our last, or that I'd have to say goodbye to you so fast. I'm so numb I can't feel anymore. I'm praying you just walk back through that door and tell me that I was only dreaming. You're not really gone as long as I believe. There will be another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place to question, only God knows why. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight. Always made my troubles feel so small, and you were always there to catch me when I'd fall. In a world where heroes come and go, well, God just took the only one I know. So I'll hold you as close as I can, longing for the day when I see your face again. But until then, God must need another angel around the throne tonight. Your love lives on inside of me, and I will hold on tight. It's not my place singing hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm just jealous of the angels around the throne tonight.
I really, really, really don't know what else to add. I have fought so hard to protect people in this country. I fought hard for justice, for this government to do the right thing. For them to do the right thing when Andrea Barrett was found and they didn't do the right thing, and so more girls have to die. And I'm fighting this madness of the lies, of this insanity that they're peddling. They're paying people and bribing talking heads to come and talk for you like if they care. These jackasses sit down in the press conference and play the crying. You want to cry for somebody? Cry for the Rampasad family. Cry for them. They don't have a daddy tonight. That woman don't have a husband tonight. This little girl, only child, she lost her daddy because he wanted to protect his family, because he believed the shit you were peddling. And you went and stick that shit in his arm, and now he dead. Trinidad and Tobago. It is time to unite. It is time to stand together as one people. Trinidad and Tobago. The name of this song is The Silence, and it is the funeral song. How many funerals are we going to have because we have shithounds and charlatans in office? The name of this song is The Silence that follows death. How many more people are going to die because we can't get it through our thick heads that voting has consequences?
Buonanotte amore, ti vedrò nei miei sogni.
The name of the song is Il Silenzio.
Te che sei lontano.
Il Silenzio. The silence. It's not enough for our hearts to break. For those left to mourn, it's not enough. We have to stand up. We have to give people something to believe in. All of you who have a skill set and ability and opportunity to contribute to a better government, my number is 682-2110. Reach out. Let us get together. Let us work together. There is no advantage to being silos posting shit on Facebook. The only reason for having an opinion is to put those opinions with other opinions that can work together for a better country. That is what we're supposed to be doing, all of us. The rest of it is a waste of time. Barking for the sake of sound. We do this every day and every night. We do this every morning. We start the day with Stefan Rees, and then Lima and Hadassah, and sometimes Esther. And then whole day is meetings, Citizens Union, Victoria Foods Grab and Go, Progressive Empowerment Party, Satish Organizing. This Thursday night, we have part 2, first real episode of Philip Edward Alexander Linus broadcast on television. Last week, our inaugural show got massive numbers. Listen, we are working 7 days a week, almost 24 hours a day. The last thing I do before I go to bed is talk to y'all and read all of these comments after. Look, we have every responsibility as a nation. We have every right to a functional country. We need to stop the madness, stop the insanity of race voting that has destroyed this country. In Tobago, PNM must lose embarrassingly. They must lose completely. They must be decimated politically. You must put them in the political cemetery. They must not get a seat. They must not get a vote. The PNM must lose so completely that they know that when election call in Trinidad, their stock's over, that the days of the contract mafia glorifying themselves is at an end, that the friends, financier, and family politics is over, that it is time the people of Trinidad and Tobago, red, white, black, green, and every shade in between, got real representation. It is time to end the African and Indian politics and the Dokai not into politics, because it is time to make sure all of us get into the right politics, and that is the politics of us, the family of citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, one people under one flag. Because if we don't do that, and if we don't stand together as one people under one flag, these people are going to continue to rob, molest, and rape this nation until there's nothing left for you and your family. What is it going to be for you? Sit on the sidelines, sit on your hands? What is it going to be for your family? Vote, race, and hope for the best? What is it going to be for your future? What are you going to do when your vote can decide our destiny? Your vote can decide what you ought to be. Your vote will decide our country's fate. So use it now before it is too late. Listen to Tyrone Hernandez. He sang this for us 30 years ago.
Your vote will decide our destiny. Your vote will decide what you want to be. Your vote can protect our country's fate. But use it well before it's late.
To all the doctors, to all the nurses, to all who are essential workers, to all law enforcement, soldiers, Coast Guard, police, I am your friend. To all teachers, to all persons working at the level, the people who actually keep this country afloat, I am your friend. And I want you to reach out to me. My number is 682-2110. I have been doing this for 28 years, and you never once at any time hear anybody say that I sell the author of my stories or who give me information. But more importantly, I want you to know that I am your friend, that this PNM UNC exchange change bullshit that has failed this nation, failed you, and that 5-year chunks of your time have been wasted hoping for the best. I want you, all of you who think that you're consigned to the PNM or the UNC, that those days done. I am your friend. We in the Progressive Empowerment Party, the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago, in the last 12 months have proven the concept of what I and we could do if we were in government. Come and join with us. citizensuniontt.org, citizensuniontt.com, or visit peptt.com/join and join with us and sign everybody else up you know and tell them when it's time to vote. Make sure and vote. Put a big X next to the PEP symbol on every ballot. Make sure, because if we don't stand together, we're going to sink alone.
If it is that who you're voting, ready or not, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the proven to be your equal amount, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is the time is now, that change come about.
Just as how you vote them in.
Vote them out. Register and vote them out. If they don't see, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Show them no mercy, vote them out. Vote them out with total skull and utter disdain. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out of power.
Terminate the reign.
Let's put our country together again.
And if you are an activist of any kind, political, social, whatever, if you are driven, if you have the call, if what you want is a better country, reach out to me. If you're in another political party and it's going nowhere, reach out to me. If we had ever any reason to cross swords in the past, the Andrea effect means that we forgive each other before we even meet and talk. Gary Abu tell me Saturday on the phone. He said, Phil boy, no matter how you bust my head on your life, I with you and I standing with you. I say, Gary, come and stand with me publicly. Let us fix this country.
You voting them in, and these old details, as soon as they win, they give you big words.
And enslave your soul, promising your roads and giving potholes.
If they are the reason why the economy goes round, when you're voting, vote them out.
In Tobago, when you're voting, vote them out. In Tobago, destroy them politically. In Tobago, rescue this whole country.
The same way you vote them in, vote them out. Register and vote them out. Totally, vote them out. State your finger and vote them out. Rescue the country, vote them out.
Tobago,
Them out with
we're counting on you.
happy and pain. Let's put our country together again.
Tobago, we're counting on you.
Calypso and joyous refrain. Let's put our country together again.
It is way past time for us to get together, all of us. Wherever you are, if you're in the PNM, if you're in the UNC, if you got hoodwinked and fooled, if you were conned and deceived, shake it off. Come, join with us. Bring your skill set. Bring what you could do, whoever you are. If you're a member of parliament now and you thought that you was fighting for something good and it turned out to be shit-tongue, shit snakes and charlatans, leave it. Cross the floor. Come with us. Join with us. Let us fix it.
If your policy is a fantasy,
Their bureaucracy, a catastrophe.
if they cannot work,
If they cannot cope and you're seeing so, then your only hope is for them to go.
if it is fabrication, these statements that they spout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. If it is a frustration, that's make you want to shout, when you're voting, vote them out. Vote them out. Before they misuse out,
Thief out, sell out, and digs out. The same way you vote them in.
vote them out. Register and vote them out. All of them, vote them out. Stick your finger and vote them out. Them unresistant, vote them out. Vote them out in Scarborough and in Portishead. Let's put our country together again. Vote them out in Camuto and in Laramie. Let's put our country together again.
When the truth is your weapon of choice, you are standing on the side of the angels. Truth is my weapon of choice. Every single night, I come to you and I bring the truth to you. What you do with it is up to you.
People must come first. Citizens by right.
None of we are worse. Yellow, black or white. Food, shelter and clothes. Free movement and speech. A garden that grows. And one law for each.
If it is that injustice,
If it's injustice is what they always show. If it is that greed,
if it is that avarice,
it's all they seem to know.
when you're voting,
If it is their politics, it's just a puppy show. When election day come Tobago, all bandit must go. Tobago, vote them out. Tobago, Trinidad begging you, vote them out. Tobago, save us. Tobago, you have the power. Tobago, reach and touch the hand of God. Tobago, bless Trinidad and Tobago. Vote them out. Let's put our country together again. Tobago, the responsibility is yours. You have the opportunity to fix this country for all of it. Tobago, the opportunity is yours. We're looking to you to right-size all of these unforgivable wrongs. 59 years of madness is too long. No more PNM, no more UNC. No more race voting. They have a lot of good people in the UNC, and I want to tell them, come across to all the good people in the UNC who trying to find good among that madness. Stop it now. Come across. Whoever you are, come across. Walk across. Whoever you are, all the good people in the PNM, walk across. If other people form 3-person and 4-person political party that doing nothing and going nowhere, and you know they led you astray and they use my words and they lie to you and they deceive you, walk across. Come back home. Come here. This is home. We tell people they have exits on every floor. They have entrances on every floor. Join the Progressive Empowerment Party. Join the Citizens Union of Trinidad and Tobago. We are the living definition of government that serves. We work for our members and we don't stop. In fact, so many people who are reaching out to us now for representation, leadership and help because they have nowhere else to turn, having given their lifeblood, their vote and their soul to others who promised them help and left them in the cold with nothing in return. Trinidad and Tobago, it is on you, it's on me, it's on us to stand together and make Trinidad and Tobago a better place. There is not enough reason, there's not enough ego, they have not enough bad mind and spite for us to be vexed with each other if we could stand together and rescue this country. They have not enough justification, and I will forgive anybody. I'll apologize to anybody. If you say you want to stand for a better TNT and you outstretch your hand, I outstretch in mine. Let us get past the nonsense, the dissatisfaction. Let us get past the separation and the segregation that funny money, cocaine money, contract mafia money, corruption money from Harry Back and the crew putting into the conversation, dividing us and fooling us. Let us get away from the nonsense of the corrupt and bought and paid for media. Let us stand together as one people under one flag. Let us adorn ourselves in the colors of Trinidad and Tobago. Let us agree with the psalmist that we could be free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. Free from corruption and racist politics at last. If you want it, let us stand together now. Let us stand together. CitizensUnionTT.org, CitizensUnionTT.com, PEPTT.com/join. If you want, don't forget to send your number to the WhatsApp broadcast at Victoria Foods Grab and Go, 4712888. We end how we begin. Queen Sandra. Listen till you feel this song.
Come on!
have nurses working 12-hour shifts. You're not renewing contracts. You're treating them like dogs. They're not even getting meal allowance. They're not getting traveling allowance. They're not getting subsistence, and they're staying away from their family for weeks. But you care about nurses and doctors, but you only miss me with your bullshit.
And them woman stronger than a wall. A big pusher, I ain't your daughter. Some in jail for manslaughter. Too bad for you, you them black boys come in. That's the black man's strike. Let Shago say, poverty is hell. Your little girl child belly start to swell. Some say life is a cycle, but don't draw she no circle. Now when it all ends, time could tell. Outside the siren keep howling.
Inside your belly, real growling.
Go this way very often.
Simpson measuring a cough.
One night in bed you're sleeping. Next night is a way that you're keeping. So you're praying to win the lotto.
To escape voices from the ghetto. The manager of Victoria Foods Grab and Go, Precious, just messaged me to say don't forget to mention Pesh Patisserie and the 10th customer to walk through Victoria Foods Grab and Go doors tomorrow, getting the dessert of their choice free of charge, and on us and on Pesh Patisserie. And they have some beautiful, almost artisan pieces in that chiller. The 10th person through the Victoria Foods Grab and Go door tomorrow, getting a dessert of their choice free of charge on us, Victoria Foods Grab and Go, and on behalf of Pesh Patisserie.
With dented pride they sold you
With
on.
dented pride they sold their on.
Revolution made collections born. And not in their tragic story. With a journalist story. No wonder they really work with scorn. Since the day they born, some call them rebels without a cause. These social victims of unjust laws.
Social victims of unjust
Yet they
laws.
christen the heroes. Renegades, desperados. Forever knocking on heaven's door. Let me see that music shut as the silence. I'm on it to conquer the violence. Big men run when thugs approach. Fighting for scraps with the cockroach. Young thugs, they're tough protected. Almost every young girl expected. So tomorrow, better Lord. Let me another child to crying. 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 Yeah, crying. Crying. Yeah.
Woo!
Social amenities don't heaven know. Opportunities, well, them
Listen.
always close. Can't get up once in white collar. If I can't stretch me dollar, later for me crack or smoke me pipe. So just out the dead from
Listen.
life does rape, dignity and
Life does rape, dignity, and
till
pride.
there's only bitterness
Till there's
left
only
inside.
bitterness left inside.
And every day is a hustle. Arguments are settled with muscle. Till you're 6 feet deep by 3 feet wide. Watch. Children, should life keep on drifting? Something they're smoking or sniffing. Maybe they're trying to forget. It's life a mystery and regret. No one to come to the rescue except Capleton and Bushu. So they boom boxes the Lego. The drum voices they're crying. They're still crying.
Tobago, save the ghetto. Tobago, rescue Trinbago. Tobago, your vote is going to teach Trinidad what democracy means. Tobago, your vote is going to show Trinidad what patriotism means. Tobago, help us, stretch a hand, teach us, show us. Tobago, we Trinidad, we need you. We need you to do the right thing. Vote PNM into the dustbin of history. You started, I promise you, we will finish it. PDP in Tobago, PEP in Trinidad, we will fix them progressively. Let us stand together and rescue this country. Stand together. Stand for all those in need. Stand for all those in misery. Stand for all those who need our help. Stand for all those who have been led astray, deceived, conned by this heartless failure of a racist, corrupt voting system. Let us get beyond the puppeteering of the contract mafia and vote ourselves a government that will fix Trinidad and Tobago for a better future. Until tomorrow.